The war with the Ice Lords has driven many from them's and villages. Alas, it would seem that some of them found their way here. I have tried to accommodate as many as we can, and provide as much comfort as possible, but I fear we can do little more. We are reaching the end of our reserves, and relations between the refugees and the villagers are becoming strained.
The refugees can't all be dead weight. Some of them have got to be useful.
Oh, if only. Believe me, I would be the first to welcome them. These peasants have been fleeing from town to town and from camp to camp for months. The best and strongest of them perished in battles, somewhere along the way. I must deal with the leftovers. I put the biggest of them in the watch, but they are of little use.
The healing house. It's a pretty good thing for your village, huh?
If you say so. As time has gone by, the healing house has drawn refugees to the swamps in ever greater numbers, and dissuaded some malingerers from returning to their families. When it opened its doors a year ago, the sense of relief was palpable. It was run by a couple, an elf doctor and his apothecary wife, who clearly were no strangers to the healing arts. Thanks to them, we were spared many plagues. But as the war dragged on, the endless tide of refugees continued to flow through our gates until we could harbor no more. 6 months ago, our worst nightmares were fulfilled. Our elf doctor fell ill and died. Since then, Mirana has soldiered on without rest, alone. I do not know how much longer she can keep going. The refugees just keep on coming. And I fear that poor woman is beginning to crumble under the strain. It's not surprising.
I need a blacksmith. Do you have one here?
With none more qualified, I asked Asiel to take over the village forge. I suppose I should warn you, he's quite a tricky character. He has a huge ego and is stubborn as an ox. Before the war, he was a sort of artist. He crafted jewelry and sculptures from metal. Despite running the forge, one could hardly call him a blacksmith. But he's the only one here who had even the vaguest notion of how to repair a shovel or straighten a blade.
The captain wants me to help your village. You got a job I can do?
With our shortages of food and fighting men, our worn-out equipment and the growing lines at the healing house, I cannot deny our village is sorely in need of help. Sadly, I fear that these are not the sort of problems you are used to dealing with, unless I'm much mistaken.
Maybe I'll surprise you. So what's the problem with the healing house?
Quite simply, Mirana cannot keep up. She spends every waking minute giving out supplies to the refugees and refuses to admit that she cannot help everyone. She thinks she's fooling me. I have heard rumors that her food stock is running low. Unsurprisingly, the crowds outside are becoming restless. I believe they wish to continue handing out our food reserves as though they were unlimited. This is not the case, and thus, it is not an option.
So, you want someone to put her down?
Why, I never suggested any such thing. I just wish she would see reason, for all our sakes. But I have asked nothing of you. I was merely answering your question.
Your guards... how can I put this? At first, I thought they were disobeying orders. Now I think maybe they don't even understand them. If you're stupid and incompetent, you should be digging turnips, not taking care of security.
You're beginning to worry me. Is it really that bad?
Are you kidding me? The state of their weapons is enough to make you cry. Maybe they'd be good for splitting logs.
Personally, I'm not capable of judging the aptitude of our sentries, but their poor results speak for themselves. Doubtless, you should share your observations with Mason, the chief of the watch. I should warn you, however, that he is of a somewhat stubborn nature.
Wouldn't be the first I've seen. I need the reports about this beast that attacked the villagers.
I fear I am unable to be of help. I'm still not entirely convinced that it even exists. All I know is that several villagers have vanished. One villager is at present in the doctor's care, following a supposed encounter with the said beast. These swamps are crawling with dangers. There is nothing to suggest anything out of the ordinary. The refugees are always inventing horror stories in an attempt to force us to open our gates and let them inside.
It might be worth checking it out. You said you lost one of your patrols, right?
That is so. You should speak with Randval. He was most anxious to go out and hunt the beast down, but we needed him here. Now that we have more able bodies to guard our gates, I imagine he would be keen to pick up the scent once more.
We'll talk again later.
The Order of the Freeborn Blades is of great repute, and the mercenary does honor to its name. The mercenary's powers are both astonishing and fascinating. The knight would like to duel with the mercenary, that he may judge the mercenary's strength.
Sure, I can never turn down a good fight. But maybe we should take it outside if we don't want to break everything in here.
The knight is honored, and bows to his adversary's wisdom.
Wait for me here, Sybil. I won't be long.
The knight hopes that his adversary will not hold back his blows.
Oh, you can count on it.
knight has never before battled an adversary with such power, and he believes that he could be that which is needed to change the course of this war.
You fight pretty good yourself. Where did you learn your moves? Can't believe you learned to fight like that in this backwater.
The knight has traveled far and fought many battles. He has only lived in his village for a short time.
What are you doing in the middle of these swamps when you could be making a difference on the battlefield?
The knight has fought a great many battles, but he feels he can be more useful protecting those who have nothing left.
I have to go. I'm glad we could test each other's mettle. It was fun.
Before his adversary rushes off to fight other battles, the knight has a question for him. He wishes to know if the freeborn Blades would like him to join them.
I'm not the one who decides who joins the company, but I can ask the captain for you.
He has thought long on it, and wishes it would be so.
Well, that's great. I'll ask him, but I can't promise you anything.
Greetings, mercenary. What can I do for you?
I have some questions I'd like to ask you. Do you have any idea about what's happening to me?
I'm afraid I may not be able to help you. Your condition is more due to magic than medicine. Your symptoms remind me of certain mental illnesses, where the subject has the impression he hears voices in his head.
And do these nutcases throw fire and have eyes that burn from within too?
You'd be surprised at what they can do. But obviously you're not like them. That being the case, if you study them, you might find some answers. In particular, I'm thinking of the fact that most of these poor madmen end up giving free rein to the darkest side of their personalities. Make sure that doesn't happen to you.
Who's the big snoring elf?
Show some respect, please. That's Prince Arundel.
And?
He's the son of the Elven King, leader of the last army standing against the Deadwalkers.
Yeah, okay. But he doesn't exactly look like he's ready to stand against anything just now. What's wrong with him?
From what I've been told, Relmar brought him here before we arrived. The prince and his men fell in an ambush. Without your friend, he wouldn't have made it out. Unfortunately, he was severely wounded and has probably been the victim of powerful magic. I'm trying to find a cure, but without much success for the moment.
Can I have a look at your stock?